Hey guys, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Corrie Carlson and I am a holistic health coach and I'm passionate about helping you to live your best life. Today's episode is going to be one of a few mini-series that I'm going to do on childhood nutrition. It's something that I get asked a lot of questions about from friends and people on my Instagram, and it's something that I'm very passionate about because we have a 4-year-old daughter and then I have another baby girl on the way. So eating healthy as a family is something that's always been very important to me. Even before my daughter was born, my first daughter, I should say, I was very passionate then about knowing that when she was born, we were going to feed her healthy. And then she ended up having a lot of food allergies, which made it even, where some of the foods I normally would have had her eat, she was allergic to. So we even had to navigate some of that. But the good news is you can feed your children healthy and keep them healthy and growing healthy. They don't have to eat all of that processed food all the time. So today I'm going to just lay the foundation and talk a little bit about how we did that from very little on with our daughter. And then in the future videos, I'll talk about some, quick on-the-go healthy snacks for you that you can do with your children, some quick, easy meals on a budget, because a lot of times the questions and things that I get from people is, I want to feed my kid healthy, but I don't have time to be in the kitchen all day. And I totally get that. Or I'm just too busy, or my child's a picky eater, or I'm not sure what to do. Because sometimes I hear from people, which is true, there's so much information on the internet. And one person's going to tell you that this food is a great, amazing food for your kid. And then the next person's going to say that same food is horrible for your kid. So sometimes it can get very confusing. And the good news is every child is different and every family is different. And what works for one kid and what helps one kid to be healthy may not for someone else. So there really is no necessarily like, do this, don't do that. And of course, balance is always, like I've said in my other videos, is always key and important too. And food should be fun and something you enjoy as a family and not a stressful thing. So I'm going to start out by talking about, so my daughter, when she first started doing foods, you hear from parents all the time, well, kid food, pizza, macaroni and cheese, chicken nuggets, veggie straws, goldfish, all of these foods that are devoid of nutrients and cause inflammation in our bodies and children's bodies. And our children are at such a pivotal point in their life because they're growing, their brains are growing, they're learning things, their bodies are growing. They need nutrient foods that are going to help them to grow well and stay healthy. And I also hear from parents too, like my kid's sick all winter long, we're in and out of the doctor's office. That's just how it is when your kids are little, and that does not have to be the case. Of course, everybody gets sick, no matter how well we eat. But eating a good nutrient-dense diet with your family and your children makes a huge difference. My daughter rarely gets sick, and a lot of that is due to her diet. So starting out, they tell you, give your kids a bunch of grains and rice cereal as their first food, but really, kids, until they get their molars in their mouth, they don't even have the digestive enzyme amylase to digest grains. So we don't want to give them grains until they have those molars. And also, white cereal and white rice doesn't really have nutrients in it. So you want to start out with really good stuff. Like I liked getting an egg from the farmer's market. So not all eggs are created equal because some of them, if you took an egg like from the grocery store, even if it said cage-free organic or whatever, that just could mean they gave it organic feed or they opened a little window for a little bit of time so it's cage-free. Because, of course, a lot of these companies are playing into the marketing of what people want. So you want to get eggs from chickens that were pasture-raised. And we fortunately live in the South, and so we have a farmer's market the whole year round, so we can go and get them from our farmer. But you can also, there's a couple brands that you can get that say pastured chickens. And you can tell if you crack an egg that's not, and an egg that is, the yolk is a very, very deep dark yellow, a lot more than just even an organic egg. And for a baby, that has so many nutrients. So if you soft boil that and let them have the yolk, that has so much for them as they're eating some of their first foods. So with my daughter, we did a lot of that, and bone broth is great because their gut is still, forming its immune system and all different things like that, and it helps seal it, everything like that. So we did a lot of that with her at the beginning and a lot of vegetables because even with fruit, it's really sweet. So I wanted to start out developing her palate for nutrient-dense food. So we did a lot of veggies and a lot of organic meat, and once, of course, she could, chew, and some of it we had to puree. And then the egg yolk and the bone broth and all of that stuff to give her a start with her food and develop a palate that, wasn't for a bunch of junk food. And also, I know I hear a lot from parents like, I have such a picky eater, my kid isn't going to do that. But here's the thing for our family, we have always said, you know what? She eats what's there. Like there isn't another meal made for her that's something different because she doesn't like it. She's always has to try and take a few bites of it, because sometimes what you'll find with kids is a food that maybe they didn't like when you first introduced it. If you keep on introducing it, it may be something they love. Like my daughter, the first time we gave her avocado, she did not like it. Like the texture, I think, too, was part of it, and she spit it out. She was gagging, and then now it's one of her favorite foods. So to keep introducing, and like she knows, like she doesn't get some other choice. This is what we're eating, and whatever our family's eating, she's eating. And we don't keep like all that other stuff in the house that, is junk food that she could go to. So she doesn't really even know like what that is. That was a big factor, is just standing strong with that and making sure like, nope, you're going to eat this. Nope, we're sitting here and we're eating this. And if you don't finish the bites I told you, you're hungry until tomorrow. Like you're not going to eat a bunch of other stuff just because you don't want what we're having. And then the other thing I found, now this is once she got a little bit older. So she's a little bit over 4 now. So I tried to have, lay a really good foundation. And then as she got a little bit older, we could start to do a couple things. Like if she wanted, a treat, I could come up with ways to make it a healthier version of that. And even like chicken nuggets, if you really want to serve that to your kids, like you can make those at home really easily with like a brown rice flour or, anything like that, a healthier version of that for your kids. And even make them ahead and freeze them and pull them out. So there are things that you can do to make some of those foods that maybe, you grew up having in a healthier way for your family. And so, like I said, I didn't even introduce anything like some of that until she was a little bit older and had already developed a palate for all the veggies and meat and all of that. And she thinks like an orange is dessert. And I'm like, awesome. So that's one thing I found very helpful. And the other thing that we did with her is we got her involved. And I think that makes a huge difference. So she knows that every Saturday we go to the farmer's market. And especially like in the spring and summer when there's a lot more to choose from, because the winter, a lot of the vendors aren't there and we can just basically get like our meat and our eggs and stuff. But she knows, and she will come and she gets to help pick things out. So she can go pick a fruit or a vegetable she likes or different things like that. Or if you don't have a farmer's market year round, the grocery store too. Like we'll go to the grocery store, she'll come with me. She'll be like, Mama, I want to try this. Or I'll say, pick out a purple vegetable or a purple fruit or whatever. And she gets to do that. Well, getting her involved gets her more apt to want to try it and gets excited about it. And even sometimes she's picked a couple vegetables that I've never even had before. And I'm like, okay. And then we take them home and we find a recipe. And she loves to just help me in the kitchen and help me prepare some of the food. So I find getting her involved and making it fun, picking it out, helping me cook it, she feels a part of it. And she's way more apt to eat it versus, me just making everything and her not being a part of any of it. And so that I found has been a big key for her for laying a really healthy foundation. And we talk about it all the time. Like we want to make our bones strong. We want to grow. And I think that, there are so many things nowadays. There's so many kids that are just sick all the time or have prediabetes and just so many different things that weren't as prevalent years ago, because so many of the nutrients that kids are just not getting anymore. They're eating all this processed food for every meal and no vegetables and all of that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of, just learning things that kids go through with ADD and different things like that. And a lot of that can be from our diet. And so it's really important to give our kids that foundation from the very beginning of what's healthy, and just to help them. And obviously we talk to her all the time about balance. We show her that. We get to make chocolate chip cookies together, and I have great recipes that use maybe coconut sugar instead of regular table sugar, and we use oat flour or gluten-free flour instead of regular flour. So we come up with things to make it a healthier version, and she still knows that that's a treat, and it's meant to be a treat, not an everyday thing. And so I have found that to be just a really big, such a difference in our family's life and in her life, and her ability to think and concentrate at preschool, in her ability just to stay well when all these other kids are sick, because she's eating foods that are fueling her body and helping it to run better and grow, instead of causing, lots of inflammation and things that make her sick. One other thing I was going to say, we do some great just immune boosting supplements for her during the winter too, which I talked about in my video a few back about how to stay healthy in the winter. So if you haven't checked that one out, check that out. And she also sees a chiropractor, which I think makes a huge difference in wellness for a child, for anybody. So all of that is what we've done with her. And I love that she gets excited about having a kale salad and having an orange for dessert and eating peppers. She will take a pepper at the farmer's market and eat it like she's eating an apple. It cracks me up. So she loves all these nutrient-dense foods because that's what she's had. So that's kind of what we've done with her so far, and that's what we plan to do with our next daughter that's coming in a few weeks. So if you are, a parent and you're like, man, I want my kids to eat healthy, I would suggest starting with laying the foundation like that for them and not having all the stuff. And if you're someone that's like, hey, wait a minute, I've already done all the processed food, what am I supposed to do? I would slowly try to get it out of your house. And, like I said before, come up with recipes. If your kid's used to eating chicken nuggets or things like that, come up with recipes to make it a healthier version of that, and slowly take some of that other stuff out of your house. And I think eventually your kid will get hungry enough. They want something. And if you don't offer them all the processed stuff, if you're like, you get this or you get this, eventually they'll be hungry enough that they will say, well, I'll have that, and eventually as you continue to do that, they will want more of the, good stuff. So that is kind of what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. And I know that was just kind of a brief overview. In some of my next videos, we'll talk a little bit about even some quick, healthy on-the-go snacks. And like I said earlier, meals that don't take forever, how you can prep meals ahead of time so that you don't have to be in the kitchen every day, and just some great ideas so that your family can have simple things to eat, because I know everybody is busy, and still be able to, get that good nutrient-dense food into your body. So stay tuned for those. And like I said before, I'm so thankful for your support, and make sure that you hit the like button, leave me a comment if you have questions about this video or there's things that you'd like me to answer in future videos. Go to my Instagram and DM me, and make sure you subscribe so that when you can see when I post new videos. So I hope you guys have a great day.